So welcome to the Metzorah edition of the short Vort. It's a special extended version today, reflecting the upcoming Yahrzeit of my mother, Gittel Bas Moshe Aleha Shalom. She was Nifteres on Zion Nisan, and this year will be the 18th anniversary of her Yahrzeit. So I dedicate this short Vort in her memory. The Midrash in Parshas Metzorah, it talks about the story of a rochel, of a peddler, who is going around to different towns. And he went to one town near Tzipori, and he said that, who is the one who wants the elixir of life? Who wants the elixir of life, the Sam HaChayim? And Rabbi Yanai heard this, and he came over and he says, I want to buy this elixir of life. So the guy said, it's not for you, and it's not for those like you. And but Rabbi Yanai wanted to know what it was, and he pushed, and so he told him, he said that he opened up a Tehillim and he said, Mia ish ha'chavetz chayim olav yamim liras tov, who is the one who desires life to see good days, and tzar l'shoncha me'ra, guard your tongue from bad. So Rabbi Yanai said, all my days that I had heard this, but I never understood how simple it was. So the question is, it seems pretty straightforward. Rabbi Yanai was a Talmud Chacham, and he knows what was happening here. So why did he make it seem like it was so complicated? What was the Chiddush? So there's many different answers on this. I'm going to share a few of them with you. So the Ksav Sofer, and that's the son of the Chassam Sofer, so he said that most Lashon Hara is told out of jealousy. That people see other people, they see they're wealthy, they see they have kavod, they have honor. They're jealous of things from this world. They're focused on Olam Hazeh. While you're not going to have people telling Lashon Hara as much when they're in the base Medrash, when they're meimis atzmam, they literally put themselves to death because they're focused on the future world. And so if they're busy learning Torah, they're not going to have as much time, at least, to say Lashon Hara. So the Rabbi Yanai's chiddush was, had been wondering why was it that the Rochel had to introduce actually David HaMelech who wrote Tehillim, why did he have to say Miha Isha Chafetz Chayim? Who's the one who desires life? Why couldn't he just introduce it as Netzor L'Shon Chamera, just telling him what he should do? So by showing the introduction meant Mihu Isha Chavetz Chayim, who's the one who desires life, that is, who's the one who's focused on the life in this world. They're the ones who need extra ziras, extra encouragement of Netzor L'Shon Chamera. So it's telling them, it's waking up the people who are focused on this world, is not really a focus on the people who are meimis themselves in the base Medrash. He gives another answer, and he says that what the Chiddush was the continuation of the Psukim. It's actually three Psukim that are lumped together that we often think of as one, and it says, Bakei Shalom B'Reid Fehu, that it was telling him that you have to go around and you have to search out to bring peace, stay away from Lashon Hara, which is divisive. You have to follow the Midah of Aaron, which is Ohev Shalom, V'Rodev Shalom. You pursue peace. And that's what he was able to focus on after this Rochel came, that the second part is to be Bakei Shalom B'Reid Fehu, to follow the Midah of Aaron, which leads to the third answer, which is basically the fact that it was a Rochel was giving the lesson. What this Rochel did, this Rochel went around, this peddler, he went around giving the elixir of life. He didn't just sit passively and for himself, all right, I'm not going to say Lashon Hara, but he went around sharing this lesson, and that's what the Chiddush was. So the fourth answer is from Rabbi Schwab Zatzal, wrote in the Sefer Mayan Beis HaShoeva, and he explains there's a difference between a chenveni, a storekeeper, and a rochel, and a peddler. That a chenveni is someone who has a set place that he can give you credit, and you can take the object now and pay later, or you can place an order and a deposit, and then you come back in a couple of weeks and you get your item. But a rochel, a peddler, he only can do something that is instant, that is cash and carry, because he's not going to be here next week. You either have the cash to pay for it, and then you get it as soon as you give it, or else you're not going to get it. So there's an instant reaction there. And that's the lesson that the Rav Schwab explains. He says that the fact that it was a rochel, it doesn't say that it was a chassid, someone who's teaching, stay away from the Lashon Hara, how to earn your life. But the point was the rochel. So the rochel is someone who's cash and carry, that the reward, when it's Miyah Chavetz Chayim, as soon as you're Netzor L'Shon Chamera, as soon as you resist the temptation of saying Lashon Hara, then you automatically earn your reward for nitzchis, for the future world, the Olam Haba. And finally, the fifth teretz that I'm going to share with you is from Rabbi Itzur Zalman Meltzer. And he said that most people assume that Lashon Hara is a sin just like any other sin. They don't think it's anything special when you do it or don't do it. But the reality is that it's on another level, and the Rochel is going to teach us that lesson also. Because even though when you refrain from doing an Aveira, you get a merit of a mitzvah, you get a credit for it, you get a reward, but it's not the same thing as if you actually went and actively did a mitzvah. But in the case of Lashon Hara, it's different, which is why he says in the language, he calls it a samachayim. It's an elixir of life. Because not taking poison is not the same as actually being something that's positive, as a samachayim. All other Aveiros, if you don't do it, so you didn't take poison and you're going to get credit for it, it's going to be good for you. But when you refrain from Lashon Hara, then it's samachayim, it's the next level. It's as if you did something holy, something good. In fact, what you're doing is you're being mekadesh your mouth by not saying Lashon Hara and being metame your mouth. You're going to be mekadesh it. So I think this fits very well with just briefly for mention of my mother, that she was an Eshes Chayil and she raised this well, and I'm not going to go into big details, but in this topic, the power of the good word is really important, and it's because of her that I'm able to give this Dvar Torah for you and my father, of course, and the way they taught us. But I remember one time when it was a really bad weather. I was living in Muncie, and I would go to the shir every night, and then one night the weather was just so bad that I was thinking, should I go, should I not go? And I saw the look of an expression of disappointment that I didn't go. Then I fully realized how much she really appreciated and desired that I would go to these shiurim. And on the other side of the coin is when she was in her final illness and she was racked in pain. So I was there to take care of her. I'd lost my job. We were taken over, and I thought it was bashert because I'd be able to be there to help her. And I never, and this is no exaggeration, and this is what I said at the Levaya, that I'd never heard her say a bad word or complain. I might have heard her cry out in pain, but she didn't say why me or complaints. And so that's the absence of, it's Metzorah l'shon chamirah. So we have the kedusha that she would bring from what she said, and the staying away from saying bad. And I think that's a lesson that we could all learn from, and should be a zechus for her. So maybe on Zayin Nisan next Monday, which is her Yahrzeit, maybe we could all try not to say Lashon Hara on that day, and it should be a zechus for her and a zechus for us. And thank you all for attending.
Beautiful.